Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just dive right in. Today, we are breaking down the absolute ultimate guide to unlocking your hidden potential and building massive aesthetic forearms, along with literally iron grip strength. If you've ever stared at your arms in the mirror and felt like they just aren't growing the way you want them to, or maybe your grip keeps failing you during a heavy set in the gym, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the anatomy, focusing heavily on the brachioradialis and wrist flexors, and then I'm going to hand you a highly effective 15-minute beginner workout split derived directly from our source material. Let's get started.
Let me guess. You're looking down at your skinny wrists right now, thinking you're completely doomed to have small arms forever, right? It's a super common frustration. It kind of feels like guys with naturally thick wrists just got this massive genetic head start, and no matter how much you train, you just won't be able to pack on that size. But here's the crazy truth. Having skinny wrists is actually a massive genetic blessing. Look, your wrist is basically all bone. There really isn't much muscle mass right at that joint to grow anyway. So, because of that, a smaller wrist actually makes any muscle you do build further up your forearm look disproportionately huge with way less effort. A guy with a thick wrist has to build a massive amount of muscle just to make his arms look proportional. You've got a built-in visual illusion. And think about the reality of day-to-day aesthetics. You could literally spend years building a massive chest and a wide back, but the second you throw on a t-shirt, all that hard work just disappears. Forearms, though, they're the only body part that's pretty much always visible. According to our sources, even if you are sitting at around 20 to 25% body fat, you can still train your forearms, bring out those veins, and achieve that incredibly aesthetic look. Now, this absolutely isn't just about looking good in a t-shirt. Before we get to the actual training, we got to talk about a hidden weakness that might be quietly destroying your overall gym progress. If you just can't seem to hit true failure on your back or bicep days, or if you consistently get this annoying elbow pain during bench press or pushing movements, your weak forearms are entirely to blame. Honestly, your back is never going to grow if your forearms give out before your lats do. All right, let's get into section 1, the power system, where we're going to master your forearm anatomy. First up is the brachioradialis. Guys, this is the absolute main boss muscle. It sits right at the top of your forearm, right up near the elbow. Our source material makes it clear that this single muscle is responsible for a whopping 70 to 80% of your forearm's total size and aesthetic look. Oh, and remember that elbow pain during bench presses we just talked about? That usually means this exact muscle is seriously underdeveloped. So how do we actually target this beast? Well, you hit it using 2 specific grips. First is the neutral grip, which you'd use for heavy hammer curls. Second is the pronated, or reverse grip, used for reverse curls. And honestly, here is a fantastic pro tip from the source. That pronated reverse curl is literally your ultimate cheat code. If you are ever short on time in the gym, always prioritize the pronated grip over the neutral grip to just set that brachioradialis on fire for maximum growth. Next up in our anatomy breakdown, we've got your wrist flexors and extensors. Like the name implies, these are the muscles that physically bend and extend your wrist. Now, while the brachioradialis gives you the sheer bulk, these flexors and extensors are the absolute key to unlocking that crazy, detailed, veiny aesthetic that everyone wants. The universally best move to train these is the classic wrist roller. But hey, if your gym doesn't have one of these fancy contraptions, no sweat. You can easily make a DIY hack at home. Just grab a sturdy stick or a piece of PVC pipe, tie a really strong rope to the center of it, attach a heavy brick or weight to the other end, and just start rolling. It is super simple, cheap, and brutally effective. Now, when you're actually doing this, your technique is absolutely crucial because most people get it completely wrong. Never, ever hold the roller straight out in front of you at shoulder height. If you do that, your shoulders will just get exhausted and steal all the gains. Keep your arms lower, right around your waist, with slightly bent elbows. Roll the weight up with control to hit the extensors, and slowly roll it down to absolutely torch those flexors. Finally, to round out our power system, we have the flexor digitorum and the extensor carpi. I know, fancy names, but these are basically 2 smaller forearm muscles that you absolutely cannot afford to ignore because they are completely responsible for your crushing grip strength. If you want a firm, powerful handshake that commands respect, these are your hidden power-ups. Training these grip muscles is incredibly simple and requires barely any setup. You've got 2 main options here. First, you can grab a cheap hand gripper, something that costs maybe around 250 rupees, and just passively squeeze it throughout the day, whether you're at home, at school, or at work. Or if you don't have a gripper, just go find a pull-up bar and do a dead hang. Seriously, just hang there until your soul literally leaves your body. Both of these methods will completely skyrocket your grip strength. So now that we know the anatomy, let's move right into section 2, the ultimate attack. This is your 15-minute beginner split. Okay, let's dive into split 1. Right after your main workout, you're gonna blast your 4 sets of dumbbell hammer curls for 12 reps to really hit that massive brachioradialis. Take a strict 1-minute break, then knock out 3 sets of wrist curls for 12 reps to target those flexors. Finally, finish off the session by entirely destroying your grip with 3 sets of dead hangs or gripper squeezes, pushing those right to absolute failure. Then, for split 2, which will tackle a few days later in the week, it's the exact same overall routine, but with one absolute game changer of a swap. You are going to swap out the hammer curls for dumbbell reverse curls, utilizing that pronated grip we talked about earlier. Everything else stays exactly the same. Doing these reverse curls is going to completely set the brachioradialis on fire and make sure you get that well-rounded forearm development. Now, an absolutely crucial point regarding your schedule is progression. Forearm muscles are relatively small, which means they actually recover quite fast. As a beginner, strictly stick to doing this twice a week. But once you level up, build a solid baseline, and notice your recovery getting really good, you can definitely push this to 3 or 4 times a week. If you become highly advanced and just want to maximize gains, the source notes you can even drop it to a quick 10-minute session every single day. But wait, before you run off to the gym, we absolutely need to cover the golden rules. This 15-minute attack only works if you follow these strictly. First up, leave your ego at the door. Lifting way too heavy will just force your biceps and shoulders to take over the movement. Focus entirely on strict, controlled form. You want to maximize your range of motion on every single rep. Get a huge stretch at the bottom and squeeze super hard at the top. And above all, consistency is the ultimate key. You're not going to see results overnight, but if you stick to the plan, the growth will happen. So you now have the full anatomy breakdown and the exact 15-minute battle plan. Plus, you know exactly why those skinny wrists are actually a massive hidden advantage. But here's a final thought to leave you with today. If unlocking just a few small muscles below the elbow can completely transform your entire arm aesthetic and absolutely skyrocket your back and bicep lifts, what other hidden power-ups is your current gym routine completely ignoring? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.